Hello, Tom Tibbits here, demonstrating to you the Hanna Phosphate Low Range Phosphate Handheld Measurement Kit that some of you, the team users, can use to verify phosphate readings. So you're given a box, handy carry box from Hanna, and we will also supply you with a 10 milliliter syringe. And I strongly advise that you also have with you a piece of kitchen roll and a small pair of scissors like that, which will turn out to be very useful. So inside the Hanna kit you've got an instruction booklet, and which gives you a fairly good aid memoir on how to use the equipment, as I'm going to show you. And you've also got the tester itself, a green object that fits in the palm of the hand, and a couple of glass cuvettes. Now, to make the test, the idea is that you fill the cuvette with your river water sample, having rinsed it 3 times, and also the syringe. So fill the syringe, give it a rinse. You can just squirt it out on the floor down the drain, or whether it's just river water. And similarly with the cuvette, give that a rinse. I normally rinse 3 times. Notice also that I'm holding the cuvette right at the bottom and right at the top, and that is to avoid getting fingerprints and other grease deposits on the middle of the cuvette, because the middle of the cuvette is where the LED light shines through inside the instrument, and that's how it makes the measurement, by optical transmission. So if you dirty or make the cuvette in any way less transmissive to light, that would affect the final reading accuracy that you get. So there we go, I've given that cuvette rinse with 3 rinses with the river water sample, and now you're going to fill it up with exactly 10 mils of water right up to the line, just as you would have done at chemistry in school, with the bottom of the meniscus showing the level, the correct level in the, it's difficult to see on this camera, but you can just see the line. Anyway, you'll see it closer up. So having put 10 millilitres of water in your cuvette, you're now ready to just dry the surface. Again, try not to contaminate the middle of the cuvette with any kind of fingerprints, grease or dirt. Just keep it nice and clean. And then put that into the checker. You just prise the lid off with your thumb, put it into the checker. I normally put it so that the dot of the .com is pointing right at me, so I know the cuvette has gone into the tester exactly the same way every time. And then I press the button of the tester, it turns on, it flashes on, then it presses C1, which is to say put in the cuvette, the calibration sample, so the unreacted cuvette sample. Press the button, it will then measure the phosphate level. No, it won't, it'll measure the calibration, the 0 level on the sample. Having done that, you remove the sample, you open it up again, and this time we're trying to put the reagent, the powder, into the sample, and it's this powder that reacts, turns it blue, and how blue it turns gives you the phosphate reading. Now, this is a powder inside a sachet that, a bit like you might get Lemsip or something like that in. And because it's a powder, I tend to just knock 2 adjacent edges on a hard surface to try and make sure that the powder is settled in one corner as I open it. And then having got the powder settled, I cut it with a pair of scissors along the other edges. There's a handy dotted line for you to follow on the sachet. And having done that, I then open it up into a sort of, I'm not quite sure what shape that you describe that as, but you can see I've opened it up like that, and you can see the powder in the bottom of the sample there. And opening it up like that, sort of pouty fish lips, I suppose, that makes it very easy to just gently tap the powder into the cuvette. And you've got to be quite delicate with this. You can see I'm doing this inside a room. I don't want any wind or any other disturbances to cause me to lose powder from not going inside the cuvette, because of course you have to have the exact metered amount of powder in the sample to make the correct reading. So having got your powder into your sample, invert it a few times. The name of the game now is to dissolve that powder, and if you've got a really badly polluted sample, you might already see a blue tinge, just a blue tinge faintly developing. But don't worry, your eye is not a calibrated instrument, and it's actually the machine that will be doing the measurement. So give that a good shake, a good stir, invert it several times, get it nice and almost dissolved. And when it's looking pretty dissolved, which can take a while, we will put it into the sample. Now the rest of that should dissolve in the next few moments or so. So I'm going to put the sample back into the measurement tool, again with the dot of the .com pointing at me from the writing around the top, because that just enables me to know that I've put the sample in exactly the same orientation as last time. And then I press and hold this black button, and that will start a 3-minute timer. So I'm just going to press and hold it just now, and you can see the 3-minute timer has started just there, and that means that in 3 minutes time, after the settling period and any undissolved things have been allowed to sink out, the light will shine and the measurement will be taken. So back in 3 minutes and we can find out the result. We only have around 25 seconds now to go, and then the result, I hope, will be revealed. You can do repeat measurements as well. There's a second cuvette that you're supplied with. You can also fill that with the calibration 0 sample and then alternate the two samples. But the first measurement, you must always wait. So the measurement is now, you can see the flashing, so 0.13 parts per million, or 130 micrograms per litre of orthophosphate ions were in this sample.